So let's go ahead and implement the Friends custom adapter. Now, if you recall in the previous video, we're getting errors in our source code because this class hadn't been created yet. So we're going to do that. Now, it's ultimately the adapter's role is to basically display the details on the screen, which ultimately going to be shown in the fragment itself. But we're going to start with the layout XML code first, and then later you'll see how the custom adapter sort of slots back and works with the fragment. So anyway, let's make a start and work on that layout XML code first. Okay, so we need to create a few XML files, or we need to create a new one and edit one before we start our layout. So I'm going to go into Project, I'm going to go into Values, and the file that I want to edit is dimens.xml. Now this is a way for you to have different values in terms of sizes for fields depending on the size of your device. So we're only going to edit it in one place, but in later apps you'll see with the ability here that we can change things. We can change how many DP for each field relative to a particular device, which is a good way of sort of giving you a bit more sort of flexibility. And you can see at the moment there's a different file. There's a W820DP file as well as the normal dimens.xml, but I'm just going to use that one for now, and you'll see when we create the layout where this is used. So we're going to create two entries for name and email. So I'm going to do, you can see on the screen, name equals, we're just going to call it friend name, and we're going to say 25 DP. Then likewise for email, we don't need to do it for phone. Friend email, I'm going to give that 20 dB, so that's just the size we want to allocate, and we'll see again where that's used later. Next we need to create a colors.xml. We're just going to, even though we're not doing a full material design for this app, we are going to just do a couple of colors. So to create the app, the file, right click the values folder, new values resource file, and the file name will be colors.xml. And then in terms of what's going to be in there, we're going to just have three entries, one for the name, email and phone, color, and friend underscore name, like so, color name equals friend underscore email, you can see the colors there on the left hand side as I'm typing them, what they look like, and you can obviously change these colors to whatever you like. And we'll just do phone the same as well, same as email. And just to be consistent, because I've done that everywhere else, I'm going to put phone in straight after our name. So that's the colors that we're going to be referring to in the XML file. Okay, so that's that done. So let's now go back to our layout folder. It's there now. I'm just going to make sure it's selected. I'm going to right click it and do a new layout resource file. And I'm going to call this one custom underscore friend.xml, and it is linear layout. That's the root element we want, so that's good. I'm just going to click OK. As soon as that finishes initializing, we're just going to go to text view. I'm just going to double click it so we've got a bit more space and we can see what we're doing. Okay, we're going to add a bit of padding down the bottom, so those match parents correct, but we're going to do a Android padding bottom. We're going to put at dimens, how we refer to that dimens file that we created before, activity vertical margin. So that's how you access the contents that are in that file, and we didn't create those, they were already in there with the project, but that's how you do access them anyway. And we'll do the same for padding left and right. So what I'll do, I'll just reformat the code. Okay, we'll reformat the code once we've finished typing. Padding left, and that's going to be activity horizontal margin. Android padding right is going to be the same. Horizontal margin, and of course padding top That's also going to be vertical margin. And we're going to change the orientation to horizontal. And we're going to change the gravity. Android gravity, we're going to make that right. To pull things to the right. And okay, that's better. So I'm just going to do my reformat of the code again, so it's a little bit tidier. Okay. And I'll probably just put that there so it's a bit easy to read. Okay, so we need to add another linear layout now. But the width for that one is going to actually be 0. And the height is going to be wrap content. And that would be weight. Layout underscore weight is 1. Then orientation we need to add as well. We're going to make that vertical. And that's it. Okay, and moving on, we need a text view. We're going to start the name, the email address, and the phone now. So layout width. We're just going to do match parent for width. And for height, we're going to do wrap content. But up here, we also want to put an ID. Plus ID. We're going to call this one, unsurprisingly, friend name. Now the text size, I showed you that in the domens.xml file. This is how you reference that. We can put @domain / friend underscore name. So that's how we define the text size. So it just means that you've got a standard reference in an XML file for that field name. So you don't have to go back into the XML here to change the actual DP. And we need text color. We're going to make text color to be the reference that we set up. We're going to call that @color friend underscore name. So that's it for our name. And adding a second text view, what I'll do is I'm just going to copy and paste this. You find you do that a lot in programming. If you can copy and paste it and make changes, it's usually quicker than sort of typing it all again. So this time it won't be name. I'm going to put email as the next entry. And obviously these field names will be changed to email. And if there was an error, if we type something wrong, we should get it highlighted in red. Android Studio tells us that we've made a mistake. So you'll know that you've got the right things in there, which is good. So I've changed that now for email because that was next in the list. Then the last field, we're going to make that, and it's complaining because we need to make it unique. We're going to call that phone, of course. And that's going to be, there wasn't a domens. We don't want to use that there for the size. We're going to leave that out actually. But the color, yes, we'll use the color, even though it's the same. Whoops. A layout width, this time we're going to do a fill parent. We want to use the rest of the space and wrap content still for the height. But gravity, we want to do gravity, layout gravity to be left so that it sort of hugs the last field. Okay, and that's actually it. Then what we need to do is we need to finish that off and we need to add our buttons. And what our buttons are going to do is enable us to edit or delete. And those buttons are going to appear to the right-hand side of the entry of the name, email, and phone. So we're going to do another linear layout and make that 0 DP. Orientation is going to be horizontal this time. And you'll see why once we've finished it, horizontal. The weight is 1 is still correct. But we also want gravity, Android gravity to be right. You want to pull those buttons over to the right of the text of the 3 fields that we've added, the 3 text views. And height should be wrap content, which is correct. Okay, so that's it. And then what we need to do is within that linear layout, we need to add our buttons. So we're going to button and the width on that one. We're just going to do a wrap content for both. All right, but we want to put our ID in there as well. And we'll call that edit. So edit button. But we also want to use an icon for this. But instead of having some text on the screen, we want to actually use an icon. We want to use an icon that's built in to Android, so we don't have to sort of download icons or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a drawable. So we're going to put Android background and make that @Android drawable. We're going to call this one IC menu edit. And you can see the entry was actually there. So again, if we got it wrong, type something wrong, it'll be in red. So we know that we've selected the right one. So we're going to use that icon. And that's just a standard icon that comes with Android for editing, which of course we're going to use in this case, which is it's actually a little pencil. Looks like a little pencil which you'd see in other Android apps. So that's it. So that's the edit button. And of course, no prizes for guessing the next button. We also want to delete. And just to recap that these buttons, the idea of these is these will appear to the right of our list for each entry, and then we can click on edit to actually physically edit that record, that friend, or delete it. So this is delete. And it's basically just the same. We need to obviously reference it, but then the only other change there is that this should be an ICC menu delete, which is a picture of a little trash can. Delete. Okay, and that should be that. So we can just, instead of me doing it manually, I'm just going to go up to the code menu again, reformat code, so it's a bit tidier for us. I didn't quite get rid of all the lines, so I'll just do that. Okay, so at that point, we're actually done with our layout. You can see it's just got the three fields, the name, email, and phone. And then we've also got to the right of those, so that'll appear left to right. And just looking at this, I think I've made a typo somewhere because we've got 3 starting linear layouts, but only 2 ending ones. So that's probably why the formatter didn't work. So if I just put another linear layout there, you can see it automatically found it. And then if we do a reformat of our code, it should hopefully nicely indent. Okay, so at that point, we're good to go. We've now got 3 linear layouts, 2 embedded ones. And the overall linear layout obviously covers the whole thing, but then within that, we've got our 3 fields, which are in their own linear layout, and that's the name, the email, and the phone. And of course, the next linear layout is got our 2 buttons, which will appear to the right-hand side of the field so that we can either edit or delete each field in the friends data. All right, so I'm going to finish this XML video here. In the next video, we're going to cover creating the custom adapter Java code.